Hey everyone, Joe here. Well, it looks like a lot of people really liked my OBS tutorial on how to improve your microphone audio quality. And a lot of people also been asking for an updated video since it's been a few years since I released it and a few things have changed. So anyway, first thing we need to do is actually go out and download the updated plugins, and some of the plugins actually have changed. And if you haven't already got them, then I definitely want to get the new ones. They're really good. First thing we go out and download is Wider from Polyverse. Like I said, I'll have a link for all these listed down in the description below. So just go down there, click on the link, download them. Now on Polyverse here for a Wider, when you click on download PC and Mac, it's going to ask for your name and email, and you get the option here to subscribe to their newsletter. You can uncheck that, and they won't send you no newsletter or any of the junk. But you do have to put your name in and your email. All right, click on Send Me Wider. When you do that, in a minute, you'll get a link in your email, and you can download from there. All righty. Next we want to get is from Tokyo Doll Labs, and many of you have said, "Hey Joe, these are all paid plugins. What are you trying to send me here to get these paid plugins?" No, there are free plugins. And Tokyo Doll Labs has also listened and understood a lot of people get confused looking for the free ones, so they've separated them. Now at the top here they have all their paid ones, but if you scroll down to the very bottom of the page, there are free plugins. Now I recommend all these. Prism's just a visualizer for you, but for example at TDR Molotov, it's a very good bus compressor and stuff. I use it a lot. I really like it, but it's not needed for this tutorial. You do want to get the compressor TDR Kotelnikov. So it's free download. Get it. TDR Nova, you want to get it as well. And TDR Voss SlickEQ. You definitely want those three. They will be needed for this tutorial. Okay. Once you get those downloaded, install them. It's pretty simple. There's no other junk software that comes with them. They're very high quality plugins. Just click next, next, next until you're done. And make sure you do install all these plugins to the default of locations, because they're VST plugins. If you don't install them to the default locations, then OBS won't be able to see the plugins because it will not know where to look. Okay, once you get that done, let's then hop over to OBS Studio. Okay, everybody. So now we're in OBS Studio. Wonderful. Now, first thing you need to do is set your microphone audio up. Now, you'll notice I have one bar here. It's barely bouncing around, and it's listed as other. I want you to meet my other microphone for this tutorial. Now, currently, I am talking into the RA320, which runs through my DVX286S channel processor, which then runs into my Moto M2 audio interface. That's the audio I'm getting out of this, run through all this hardware. Like I said, I'm going to show you how you can get this audio sound out of this. I said, this is a more expensive microphone, going through all this other equipment, and you really don't need that. So here we go with this. So anyway, this is a Shure SM48, a very cheap, $40 to $50 microphone that most people can afford. Like I said, it is run directly into my audio interface. You don't necessarily got to have a Moto M2 like I do. Just any old audio interface that'll work, because most of them are just fairly decent enough, especially for streaming. All right. So the first thing you need to do is to set the volume on this. So when you're talking, you're getting around -25 to -20 dB. All right. That's really important because we want to be able to speak into this without clipping. All right. So you need to adjust your audio interface gain on it until you start hitting those letters. So A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. All right. You see where that was peaking on that, talking into it. Okay. Around -20. That's what you want to hit. All right. Once you got that done, then we can start adding our VST plugins. Now, to add these, I've kind of made this interface a little more simpler, easy to see. Go down and click on the little box that has 3 dots in it and go up to filters. All right. Now, I already have my filters added to help speed this tutorial up because nobody wants to see me sit here and just type for no apparent reason. All right. Now, if you haven't ever added any filters and stuff before, it's quite easy. You want to click on the little plus sign, and first thing we want to add is actually go ahead and add our noise suppression. go ahead and click on that one, add it. Click on that, it says noise suppression. You can click OK. All right. The other ones, like SlickEQ and stuff, we have to go down here and it says VST2 plugin. Click on that one. And you can name these. You want to name them to kind of help, figure out, what plugin it is when you actually put it in there. So you can just type in like test, for example, here. And I click test, and test will appear. All right. Then you can go through the list and find the plugins you want. You can see I got all my TDR plugins and stuff down here, the free ones, and of course the Gentleman Editions as well, because I got them all installed. I use the Gentleman Editions, which is what the GE stands for. Those are the paid ones. But like I said, we do have our free ones here, like TDR Nova, TDR Prism, TDR Molotok, TDR Kotelnikov, and of course we have Wider down here at the bottom as well. All right. Choose that, and whichever one you want for next in line, and add it. Now, to remove one, click on the little trash can and ask, you sure you want to remove test? Yes. All right. First thing we want to do is actually turn on our noise suppression. All right. I recommend using RN and noise. It's good quality, more CPU usage, just like it says. But the other option is Speaks. It's kind of trash. I wouldn't use Speaks. I'd either use RN or just completely don't use it at all. That's my honest opinion. All right, because RN is actually really good. All right. Next we want to add is the SlickEQ. Like I said, I already have it added. And you can click Open Plugin Interface to open your plugins. And boom, here I got SlickEQ. Now, the first thing we want to do on all of these plugins, the TDR plugins, is you want to set them to either live. And if live's not option, then set it to eco. Because you don't want to set it to full or precise or anything like that, because they'll eat up more CPU usage and also add more delay into your already delayed audio that OBS has. And if you're wondering about improving your video sync on OBS, I still have a link to that a video down in the description. But I also still have videos on my channel, so you definitely want to watch that. All right, so we want to set it to live. Click live. And if you want to save your settings after you're done, you can right click on that and go save as a new global preset. And you can save it, the name of it. Like I said, I got this name is 286S, because this is what the actual EQ is simulating from like the channel strip. Like I said, I got the channel strip, so I know what this is supposed to sound like. All right. So anyway, the first thing we're going to do is we want to add a high pass filter. Around 40, 50 hertz is normally pretty good. I think 40 is a little too sharp, so I normally put it on 50 hertz. Kind of help any kind of rumble and stuff, like your neighbors firing up their car motors or shooting guns, or it really depends on where you live in the world, what kind of rumble and stuff you have. So road noise and stuff, that'll help get rid of that. All right. Now, we want to set this right here on the low end here to a bell filter. That's what this one is, but default it's on a shelf. We want to set it to a bell, and anywhere between 80 to 100 is normally fine. I normally just stick it on 85, which is fine. And you want to increase the gain on this, which will bring up the bass, to 6 dB. Now, depending on your microphone and depending on your voice, male, females, voices are all different. Microphones are all different depending on what microphones you go to. You may have to raise this up a little higher or pull it down a lot lower. Some even microphones, you might even pull it down to negative areas to keep from the audio being too deep in bass and being rumbly. For this tutorial, I'm going to set it on 6 dB. So like I said, you can pull it up or lower it down if you want to. Now, what's really important on a DBX286 is it has a drop right after the bass, which cuts out a lot of the muddiness in the audio. All right. If this is not turned on already, go ahead and turn it on. And we want that drop at 400 hertz. So I forgot what this is, but default, just kind of pull the knob down until it sits around 400, 401. It's close enough. And the gain, want to drop that down to negative 4.5. That's what I recommend on it. I wouldn't pull it down too much lower than that. Negative 4.5 is actually seems to be the sweet spot, but your mileage may vary. All right. Now, on the high end here, we want to add some presence to the voice, make your voice clear. And by default, on this, I have it set to 6 dB. You may have said you may want to raise that or lower it. The frequency I'm recommending setting it to is around 5 kilohertz. That's for like give more like presence and stuff in your voice. 5 kilohertz is what you want on that, and you do want it on shelf, not bell. All right. Now we want to make sure it is set to German, because the German is the one I actually use this one. You know, got other options here like American, Soviet, German, and British. If you have the paid version, you even have a Japanese one, which just changes the Q value on the EQ mounts, which I'll show you what Q value is when we get down to Nova. But for this one, I just set it to German. It seems to work the best there and has the right Q value for what we're trying to do with the dip around here, get out the muddiness. All right. For the, I want the EQ set turned on. It may be turned off by default. Turn it on. Outstage. Honestly, I prefer either silky or mellow. For this one, I'm gonna set it on silky, give a nice top end, and I want to add a lot more saturation to that. So I want to pull up the saturation to 18 dB. By default, it's around 6. Just use your mouse. You can pull up and down on the numbers, and you'll see up or down, and it improves it. All right. This has changed a little bit. You want to click on EQ gain, and I recommend raising this to 6 dB more to kind of help the audio and stuff. Like I said, before the audio was like, you know, around negative 20, what it was bouncing around, and now we're sitting around on about, say, test, you know, around negative 15. All right. So after you get done that one, like I said, make sure they're on live or eco, and go ahead and just close it. Next we want to add is Nova, and open that one up. And now what we're going to do with Nova is we're going to add some plosiveness, and also add some de-essing. And deplosives to help for any kind of that pop booms, you know, when you're speaking into the microphone, to kind of help any of that crackling and rumble and stuff. It won't get rid of the mic if it overdoes it, but it will help any kind of like directly, you know, speaking into it too much. So if we don't already have 2 on there, go ahead and put 2 on there. You'll see I'm using 1 and 3 here for this one. All right. We do want to make sure it's on a bell filter. And for this one, we're going to use a Q value of 2. Actually, on 1, we're going to use a Q value of 0.4. So let me show you what the Q value is. See, raise it really high. It gets very narrow V on it. And lower it down, it gets much wider. Now, what this does, it changes how much of the EQ it's affecting, you know, the range. So this really helps. 0.4 is what I recommend for this one. Yeah, put it down to 0.4. Now, frequency, we want around 100 hertz here. That really helps in kind of rumbling. So if you go like boom, 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 we see that EQ right there. See, pop, boom. Yeah, that'll really help feeding that. All right. So we with threshold, I like setting on this one is around negative 20. Ratio is 10 to 1. Now, it'd be kind of tricky when you're pulling it up, because you get too far, it goes to infinite. We'll back it down just enough to 10 to 1 for that one. Okay. We want around a 20 milliseconds attack on that one, and a release of 200 milliseconds. All righty. And if these are grayed out, then just click on threshold and that'll bring them up. All right. Click on 3 here, which is the one I'm using for de-essing. And we can see each one of these has a different setting for each frequency band. All righty. Again, we do want to use the bell. And the Q value on this one, we've increased up to 2. You know, bring that up to 2 is what I recommend for this one. However, if you do want more precise, for example, if you feel like you're getting too much of the clarity out of your audio and you still want to like narrow down that sibilance issue, and just speaking like Sally sells seashells on the seashore, as you'll see here. Sally sells seashells on the seashore. Turn it off. Sally sells seashells on the seashore. All right. All right. Like I said, if you feel like you're getting too much of the sibilance out, but you still want to fine tune it, what you can do is click on band solo. And what this do, if I go, you can then, you know, click on the band here. We find it. Where is it at? And all right. You know, your band frequency, 9 kilohertz, about where mine is for my voice. Like I said, if it's, you may want to drop it down like 8.5. You know, 8.5 might be pretty decent for this microphone. But depending on if you're male or female, or your voice type, or how much sibilance and stuff you have in your voice, you may want to lower it down to 5 or raise it up to 11, depending on where it is in your vocal range. Everybody's different. Of course, your microphone's affected as well. All right. So, like I said, we want threshold for this, and I want -24. Ratio is 2-to-1 on this one, because you bring it up too high on the ratio, it's going to make it sound like you got a lisp. You don't want to sound like you got a lisp. And like I said, turn that off, and that way you can listen to it then. Go test, test, test. You know, test, test, test. The attack, we want 8 milliseconds on it, and release 200 milliseconds. The outgain, leave it as off, and your 0 or dry mix set to 0 as well. We don't want that to change anywhere. You can bring it up, give more dry mix to it, or break it down. Yeah, it'll change a little bit. So that the dry mix, what that does, add that. It basically is like you didn't use the filter at all. And this, if you're using 100% of the filter. I know it seems backwards, because most of VSTs and stuff have like dry or wet, and you knob, you can adjust it either way. This one just have dry mix. All right. Again, make sure we are set to eco, not precise, and definitely not precise plus, or you have a lot of delay in your audio and a lot more CPU overhead. All righty. And if you're not seeing any of your visual stuff, make sure you click on in case I forget to tell you about that. That way you'll actually see what's coming in, and you can see what's going out as well if you click on the out. All right. And that's really it for this one. Like I said, you can save it, save as new global preset, type your name in for it. Like I said, I got Dplo and DS for my name because it's really original. All right. All right. We're done with this one. Like I said, screenshot the settings I have here if you need to. And it's just screenshot those as well. That way you don't forget. All right, once we're done with that, let's close it out. Now let's open up our compressor, Kotelnikov. I really like Kotelnikov because it is a soft knee compressor. I do not like anything that doesn't have a soft knee. What basically a knee is, on a regular compressor, when it goes up, it might have a really sharp angle where it starts compressing. And any above that, it's real sharp. So it can be noticeable. With a soft knee, it gradually ramps into it, so it sounds a lot more natural. I don't, like I said, I like soft knee. I hate hard knee compressors, which the older style are hard knees. So anyway, first thing we're going to do is the slope here on our low frequency relax. I'll set that around negative, we'll set it to 12 dB. You can pull it up, pull it down. 12 dBs all the way. Frequency, 80 hertz. Stereo sensitivity here, by default, it's around 80. Pull down on that and set it to 0 because this is a mono channel anyway at the moment. And so we want to add that to it. All right, wonderful. I said threshold around -24 is what I recommend. Peak crest, you want to run that all the way up to RMS so to kind of get the average of it. The soft knee by default is around 6. We're going to pull that up to 9, good and soft. And the ratio is normally around 2.5. We want to pull that up to 3-to-1. All right. The attack around, say, 5 to 8 milliseconds is fine. You know, by default, I think it's around 6. And release, you want to make sure it's around 250 milliseconds, which is 1/4 of a second. All right. This one will be grayed out or faded out when it's set to RMS. All right. Again, make sure we are set to eco or live. It's set on eco at the moment. So test, test, test. When you do that, you can get an idea of how much your gain reduction you're getting from the compressor. All right. Now you can use the makeup gain to kind of increase that. So basically test, 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 the little white line. Yeah. All right. So I set mine up, gave it 2 more dB. All right. Of course, you got dry mixing on and off here. Let's off. We turn that down and leave it off. Our output gain, we want to increase this to around 6 dB. Therefore, we get over here, we should get it pretty high. Test, test, test. Bang, 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 bang. Test, 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 test. That way you should be peaking around no higher than -3 dB. Now, for this one, we're peaking around -4.5, around 5 at the most. That's about where you want it. You don't want it any lower, and you definitely don't want to go high, or your audio will start crackling. All right, so you can adjust this where you want it. By default, it's set to 0. Like I said, I set this one on up to 6. Adjust this to where you're peaking about where you want it right here. Just don't hit 0. If you're hitting 0 or anything above like a -3 or in this area through here, it's going too high. And you should run in, especially if you go to yell or anything, it's going to get crackle. This should really help with any problems the compressor should, if you do anything accidental getting too loud or too quiet. So this is about where you want it. All right. Once we got that done, we can add our expander, turn that one on. Like I said, to turn all these on, make sure the little eye thing's lit up, not grayed out. All right, we got 2 options here at the top, gate and expander. By default, it should be on expander if you chose expander, obviously. And if it's not, make sure it is on expander. Ratio, we want to increase that just a little bit to 3:1. The threshold here really depends on how much background noise you've got. For my room, for example, around -32 dB is where I like it. Anything below that, it's really going to get rid of. For example, like typing on your keyboard and stuff, it'll really help get rid of that, especially anything that makes it past the noise suppression. Like, for example, if you've got like blue keys on your keyboard, the really clicky, loud ones that nobody likes except for the people that own the keyboards. Yeah, this will help get rid of that. And if you also got any fan in the background or kids running around the background, this also help with that as well. If you're still having those come in across your streams or into your video and stuff, raise it up higher. I wouldn't go no higher than -24, but I wouldn't also go no lower than say -40. So for this tutorial, for the baseline, just set it for -32 dB. All right. The attack around 8 milliseconds is fine. The release, we want the 250 milliseconds. By default, that's pretty low, which is stupid. So we want to get this to sound natural. We want our release at least 1/4 of a second, which is 250 milliseconds. Output gain, leave that set to 0, and detection, leave that set to RMS. Okay, wonderful. Now we can add wider. And go ahead and open up that interface. Like I said, wider's changed a little bit. All right. So now we have wider here. Naturally has a low bypass on it. Basically what this does, for anybody that listens, has like audio, has like a subwoofer and stereo speakers, it doesn't really matter where you set the sub too much, because your body's not really good at pinpointing with the bass sound. But any of the higher tones, you definitely hear where they're coming from. So what they're doing here is allowing you to get rid of any of that low bass from being widened out in the plugin. So for mine, for this tutorial and testing, around 400 hertz is about where it sounds good. You can bring it up or down. It's very sensitive. You can also use your mouse to bring it up, bring it all the way down, and bring it up to here about 400. Use your mouse wheel, 364, 500, close enough. All right. Then the widen here, you can bring it really wide if you want to. So like test, 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 test. Or test, 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 test. Test, test. Okay. We're having fun. So around 33%. Test, test. Gives the mono signal a really nice sound. All right. So all those done, added. All right. So let's do it before or after. Okay, this is before. We're using the Shure SM48. Run it to the audio. What is this? Oh, Motu. I've had a rough day. This is the second time I've filmed this video. All right. Got the Shure SM48 running to the Motu M2 audio interface. This is without the plugins. And this is with the plugins. So ABC 1, 2, 3. Test, 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 test. Okay. So anyway, I hope everybody liked it. And for example, while we're here, this is running through my DBX 286 directly to my Moto M2, and this is using the plugins. So let me know down in the comments which ones you like and which you think's better, this or this. And also, if you have any questions or comments or improvements you'd like to see in the video, make sure you put those down in the comments as well. So anyway, that's it for this video. I'm glad we finally recorded it correctly this time. And if you like this video, how about give me a thumbs up? Thumbs up is always highly appreciated. And if not a subscriber to my channel yet, please take time to subscribe. Subscribing is free, it's for you, and lets you know when I release more videos. Until next time, everyone, thank you for watching.